Welcome to another edition of Conn and the Stick. I am your host, Justin Connolly, with my co-host, Nick Smith, the Stick. And just so we're going to keep going along with NFL Week 4 in review, and then we're going to go into Week 5, a review of what we're going to, in our game predictions, we're going to do something a little bit different where before we even talk about for most of the games, we're going to give our lock for an automatic victory that we think that it's just going to be the easiest, best pick of ours for this week. And then we're going to go with our upset of the week. So it's just going to be us today, no special guests. Let's get into it.
Oh, let's do it.
So we end Week 4 with only 2 undefeated teams left. We had 3. Obviously, the Miami Dolphins went into Foxborough. Didn't expect them to get blown out as bad as they did, but the Patriots definitely shutting the doubters down and saying, you know what, they don't have it anymore.
Yeah, no, they needed that win, especially being down 2 games in the division already. Just going to the Foxborough is never easy for any team. And with an angry Patriots team losing 2 weeks in a row, Miami was just not a good situation to go into. They didn't really have much going all game, and Tom Brady and that offense, they were just clicking. And now this week, going forward, they even get Julian Edelman back. So let's see where that offense goes moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's just we're going to see Julian Edelman tonight against the Colts. But just one thing on the Miami game that it's crazy to think that you lose 38-7 and you're still winning the division right now. But I mean, for Miami, they got to fix the offensive line position because it just you lost Josh Sitton and now you're out Daniel Kilgore. And the reason why the Dolphins lost that game is because for the first time all season, they just got dominated up front. And just as well as I do, you cannot get dominated up front and expect to win games.
Oh no, because the offensive line, they create everything. They give the quarterback time to throw, and if you want any sort of running game, you got to find holes somewhere. But when you're just getting beat up front, offensively, it's almost impossible to get any major plays going, and it's tough to just chip 4 yards here and there all the time. You got to get those chunk plays, got to get some momentum. So when you're not having the line protection that you need, it's going to be tough for any offense to really produce.
And let's go back to Thursday, last Thursday, a absolute shootout between the LA Rams and the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, both offenses were clicking offensively, and that game pretty much went what we expected.
Yeah, I would say I don't know high scoring though, because both those teams got very phenomenal defenses. The Rams and the Vikings. I definitely thought it'd be a close game, which it certainly was. It would come down to the wire. Probably a little bit more scoring than expected, even though both offenses are still good. But I feel like the defenses on both those teams are probably their strengths. I chose the Rams to win. I just thought they were just a little bit more better overall team. Jared Goff is playing on another level right now, which is great for him moving forward. That offense is looking great. Both these teams, definitely playoff teams, are playing really well, but also it's just a great Thursday night game. We don't get too many of those too often, so it's good to see.
Yeah, it definitely was a fun game to watch. And unfortunately for Tampa Bay Buck fans, Fitzmagic died in the Windy City. An absolute blowout to a team that, you weren't as crazy as I was. The Chicago Bears, Mitch Trubisky, throwing 6 touchdown passes. I mean, are we seeing a return of the Chicago Bears franchise?
They're looking really good. That defense is just causing havoc left and right. They're getting after the quarterback. They're creating turnovers. And Mitch Trubisky, he's playing well. 6 touchdowns against Tampa Bay, but as long as he can stay consistent and the way this defense is playing, they could give it a shot at the playoffs. Like they do have some pretty good teams in the division, but the way they're playing right now, there's no reason why they can't keep this moving forward. And you know what? They're proving me wrong, and you know what? I'm about it. I like what I see from Chicago right now.
I really do like what I see from Chicago right now, and it's crazy to think that a team that we still had at around 5-11, 6-10 on the season. We didn't expect them to play this well, but when you add a game-changing talent like Khalil Mack, it just makes your defense so much better with a guy of that caliber. Because now you're so worried on a guy like that. And that's why I think, and we're going to talk about the Steelers a little bit later, with Le'Veon Bell, I mean, you're taking away what could be potentially the best running back in football. It changes a lot of what you do on offense. And it's amazing. You know what? Yeah, there's 11 guys on the field. One guy doesn't make a difference. It makes a huge difference when you think about it. Yeah, I mean, obviously he can't do it all himself, just like Tom Brady can't do it all himself. Aaron Rodgers can't do it without his offensive line. But, I mean, you take away one game-changing talent like Le'Veon Bell, and that's why I think the Steelers' offense is struggling because, you know, you can't get no team is worried about the run. As well as James Conner, I feel like, has played so far, they're not worried about him breaking off a long run. Not the way that Le'Veon Bell plays. I mean, there's a huge difference between the caliber that Le'Veon Bell is and the caliber of James Conner. So it's just a matter of, you know what, you needed that final piece. The Chicago Bears got that piece in Mack, and now it opens up Eddie Goldman, Leonard Floyd. You getting constant pressure allows the secondary to kind of jump a couple more routes because, you know, they're getting the ball. The quarterbacks are having to throw the ball fast. So I think that was finally the last piece that they needed to make this team really good. And we move on to the Houston Texans. The offense is back. Deshaun Watson was lighting it up. And, you know, they score 37 points. They win in overtime off a controversial
fourth down
in overtime when they could have went for the tie. I understand why you don't. I mean, I'd rather lose than have to tie in football.
I agree. I honestly agree. I just think the tie is so stupid in football. But I guess if you guys think at the perspective of the Colts, heck, you know you're not going to the playoffs. You know what? A lose, it's getting you a better draft pick at the end of the season. I'm not saying that's what they were doing, but I'm saying if you go for the win and you win that game, that's like a special moment for them in their season, and that's awesome. If they lose, it's just another loss on what's going to be a bad season. So even though it was highly criticized, it's not like they're a playoff team that maybe needed that tie for like a tiebreaker or something down the line. So I'm not like killing the coach for it, but like I can see why many other analysts on like ESPN and stuff don't like it.
Well, yeah, because, you know, you're putting yourself in a bad position, especially when you go for it on fourth down inside your own territory. It's not really a good thing.
Yeah.
And I understand why that, but, I mean, I'd rather see a win than a loss. I'd rather take a loss as a Dolphins fan than sit there and watch them.
The defense still had a shot. Like, they got the ball at, the 45-yard line. They still needed a first down or more to get a good field goal shot. But, of course, first play, DeAndre Hopkins catches like a slant and goes for like 30 yards. So
yeah,
that's just how it happens.
But I mean, at the end, Doug Peterson, I feel like changed the game of offensive play calling because of the fact that man goes for it every chance he gets, and so
I guess in the mind of coaches now, these offenses are so high powered. You feel like you're giving them the ball, they're just gonna march down and score on you anyway. So your best bet is try to put up as many points as you can too. So I guess if you're giving them the ball at the 50 or if you feel like you're giving them the ball at their own 20, they're just going to march down and score anyway. So I guess maybe that's how some of these coaches are thinking. But no, it's the way the NFL is right now. It's a high-scoring league. So many touchdowns. I saw a stat that like this is the most amount of points scored in like 4 weeks or since like mid-2000s or something like that. It's
the NFL wanted more scoring.
They're getting it.
And they are absolutely getting it. So, and from one controversial call to one controversial game, in the black hole, a really interesting ending to that Browns-Raiders game. There was a couple calls that I didn't agree with. I don't know if you saw any of it, but
no, I saw some of it. I saw the car play.
And we'll talk about the Browns side real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't even a second after he got set. There was literally 1 second after he got sacked that ball came out. And that's a fumble.
It's definitely a fumble. No, without a doubt. As soon as he got touched, the ball was basically coming loose. So.
And it's just a controversial call. Yes, you're trying to protect the quarterback, but I mean, that's a live ball. That's a game-winning situation for the Browns.
Probably 6 points for the Browns going the other way because they scooped that. and when there was maybe one offensive lineman that could track them down, and that would have been the game. That would have sealed it up. But
I don't
it
understand
is.
where you make that play call from because it's such a game changing play, and you just didn't even let the play run through. You just right when Derek Carr gets touched and starts getting brought to the ground, you blow the whistle saying forward progress. He didn't even move. There is no forward progress. He didn't even struggle to get sacked. He just got sacked, fumbled the ball, and they called it dead.
It's awful.
And Carlos Hyde getting clearly got a first down, and they called it short. That wasn't short. And I don't understand what angle you were looking at that made you think that was short. When in doubt, you go with the call on the field. And the call on the field was a first down. It spotted exactly where that elbow hit. His elbow did not hit forward. It hit right where it hit, and you moved it back. It makes me think it's stuff like that. As much as I don't believe it, the NFL's rigged because you don't want John Gruden going 0-4.
There's just no excuse at all. There's no way to explain it. Like, all of us watching the game at home, like, you see the replay who knows how many times. Like, how are you supposed to explain to all your fans watching this game, like, how that call is missed? Because anyone with the naked eye could even see that. So I just don't get what these refs are doing. The quarterback situation is just horrible right now. The replay situation it's not that bad, but there's still many calls are still being missed. It's just the NFL is just struggling right now to figure its own way out. They just keep bringing more problems onto themselves, and hopefully they find some solutions. But right now it's
and then
bad.
The third controversial call, because I thought there was three. I thought there was the Carlos Hyde getting called short, the Derek Carr fumble, but also early in the game in the first quarter, the Marshawn Lynch run. Where, for those of you that don't know Marshawn Lynch, you have obviously been under a rock not knowing how hard this man runs, if you don't know. Well, he is a man that breaks so many tackles. And 2 seconds after he got wrapped up, they called it dead, and he ran through 2 guys on his way for a touchdown. As a ref, you need to know the tendencies of some of these players, and that's one of the things that they've actually been cracking down. They've been looking at what team referees are now scouting teams to look for certain calls and tendencies at what they do. If you don't know that Marshawn Lynch is going to eventually run through these guys until he's actually, you got to wait for a guy like that to get brought down. Because a wrapping up Marshawn Lynch does not do it.
He's just going to carry on his back for 5 more yards. So I don't know. I don't get it.
It saved me in a couple fantasy leagues, but still.
No, I know the exact play you're talking about too. And then he started going crazy. He kicked the ball or something.
Kicked the ball.
He started running angry after that. He was just plowing people even more.
You can't make a call like that. Yeah. Knowing what Marshawn Lynch has accomplished and what he does best is running through tackles. It's just very controversial game. Very controversial calls in that game. The NFL refs have to figure it out because you can't let plays like that slide. Moving on, the Bengals and the Falcons in a shootout.
Big shootout. Ended in a thriller, too. Last second touchdown
to A.J. Green. The Bengals steal one in Atlanta. The Bengals the best team in the AFC North?
Honestly, the way those teams are playing, the Steelers kind of look the worst right now. It's kind of crazy to say because the Browns could easily be like 3-1 right now. They missed a couple of missed field goals. The refs last week, they're 3-1. The Ravens are 3-1, right? Or 2-2. I think they're 3-1.
Through who? The Ravens?
The Ravens.
Ravens are 3-1.
And the Bengals are 3-1.
Yes.
So the Bengals are looking good. I think the Ravens are still better than the Bengals, but it's crazy to think that the perennial powerhouse Steelers is probably playing the worst football in that division, and it's not really all that much of a stretch because they barely escaped. Well, against Cleveland with a tie and
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, they could easily be winless right now, but
I mean, it's tough to think. I mean, this is a team that I bragged about all offseason. I mean, my Super Bowl prediction this year was the Steelers and the Saints. The Saints, after a Week 1 loss to the Bucks, they picked it up. They started playing Saints football. I started seeing another guy under center and then the shotgun against the Giants. I don't even know his name, but I knew that wasn't Drew Brees, and I was like, man, they are really switching it up here. I mean, Alvin Kamara ran for 3 touchdowns against the Giants. This is a team that just, you're going to get offensive clicking. And the thing is that we're seeing it from the Saints pick it up, and we're not seeing it from the Steelers because the secondary looks atrocious. Defense in general, it just looks bad.
They're giving up huge play after huge play, and you're not going to survive like that at all because they just can't. Without Le'Veon Bell, I guess it's affecting Antonio Brown in some way because Antonio Brown, he scored a touchdown last week.
They're sending all their secondary back and realizing that they don't have to play the run anymore.
That's exactly it because you got one extra man in coverage, and it's just making a big difference on that offense. And
like I said, James Conner's good, and there's no taking away how good he's played and filled the shoes, but he's not Le'Veon Bell. But we will see Le'Veon Bell back.
I think he said
after week 7, he'll be back, and it's going to be interesting to see how the Steelers play and how the whole momentum of the Steelers might change with Bell back.
I'm just very curious to see how his teammates accept him back. Or even if they do,
it's just
at this point, one of those situations. I guess wins heal everything though, so we'll see how they do on the field when it comes.
Speak of another shocking team sitting at 3-1 right now. The Tennessee Titans steal a win on a last-second touchdown by Corey Davis in overtime. I don't know what's happened to the Eagles' defense, but it just doesn't look the same since last year.
Pass secondary-wise, they're getting torched up a bit. Also, going back into overtime, I think Tennessee converted on 3 fourth downs. I think they were 3 for 3 on 4 downs. They even had a 3rd and 20, which I think Mariota then ran for 19 yards, 3rd down, and then converted. I think they had a holding or something on 4th down. So, the Eagles are just shooting themselves in the foot in that overtime, then touchdown at the end. But, no, this doesn't look like the Eagles team of last year right now. Offensively, I think Wentz is still trying to get back into it a little bit. Maybe he needs a little bit more time. He's still a little bit rusty from his injury. But, the defense is probably where the big issue is just because last year they were a powerhouse and they were getting after everyone.
I mean, it's tough to think that you add a guy like Michael Bennett and your defense is doing worse.
Yeah, true.
It's just rounding up a couple of things. Obviously, we said the Saints beating the Giants. Jaguars emphatic win over the Jets.
I knew that one was coming.
Cowboys pull one off against the Lions.
Let's go. Ezekiel Elliott had a really good game.
Tore it up. Packers shutout against the Bills. No surprise there. At least not in your eyes either. 49ers and the Chargers. 49ers played better ball than I thought they were going to play without Jimmy Garoppolo.
They saw a game. Kittle had a really good game at tight end. 100-some yards, touchdown. They played well, but like we said, without your starting quarterback, it's never an easy feat to go in and be a team as good as the Chargers are.
Chiefs and the Broncos, a Monday night thriller.
Just
Patrick Mahomes not only throwing, he can throw with his right arm, but he can throw with his left too.
Dude could do it all right now, and honestly, through 4 weeks, should be the easy favorite for MVP right now. Dude's has 15 total touchdowns in 4 weeks. He's just clicking everywhere. That offense in general is just so explosive, and you know what? They're 4-0 right now, on top of the division, top of the AFC. You know what? Let's see how long the Chiefs could keep it going on this hot streak.
Well, they're gonna definitely get the best challenge they can get all year as they play Jacksonville this week. And then just to finish it off, and I want this to go into a different conversation as well. I didn't add this and I just saw the score, and it made me realize that this was something that we need to talk about. Josh Rosen's first game didn't go as I expected. I expected a win against Seattle, but 20-17 win for the Seahawks. But one of the biggest things that, and this leads into our next conversation really, Earl Thomas breaks his leg. It was a guy that was been on the trading block really for all of most of the season because he wanted another contract. The Seahawks didn't really want to pay him that much, so he held out. And obviously, you think about the guys that hold out. Um, they're shunned. You're not coming to contribute with the team. You're doing this, you're doing that. A lot of bad publicity comes from this, and I'll be honest, I'm one of those guys. Sometimes I don't understand why guys don't show up to camp. Le'Veon Bell, Odell Beckham, Aaron Donald, those guys, because I think that they're just it shows that they're not committed to the team. But in reality, after this situation with Earl Thomas, made me think a little bit differently about guys like that, because he was going to get. It looked like he was going to get sent to the Chiefs, and for maybe like a second round pick, and they would have extended his contract and stuff like that. But he breaks his leg, and now Earl Thomas is in a bad situation. You saw as he was getting carted off, flipped off, stuck the finger at the Seahawks bench, and why? Well, because now he might be out of a job. I mean, it's tough when a guy like that breaks his leg, considering his age, whether or not he's going to be able to come back strong. And it makes me think, I mean, now all of a sudden, all that guaranteed money that you were going to have, and the thing about the NFL that's different about the other sports is that they get every cent that they get in their contracts. NFL, it's different. People and guys rely on that guaranteed money. That's why those contracts that are 30 million, 40 million, 50 million guaranteed, Aaron Rodgers gets 100 million guaranteed. They have to pay that guaranteed money. Somebody can get a 6-year, $120 million contract, but only 20 million guaranteed. He's not guaranteed to get all of that $120 million. He's only guaranteed to get 20. So in the NFL, it's all about guaranteed money. So do you blame a guy like Earl Thomas, who's late in his career, doesn't know how many more years he's got to have to get a guaranteed contract?
No, I don't blame these guys
for holding out.
You know what? You know you're one of the top guys in your position, and you feel like you aren't being paid accordingly. You know what? You have the right. If you don't want to play, you don't have to. Look at Le'Veon Bell. Like he that very well could have been him. And like it's a little bit different for Bell. He's much younger, but also running back. They seem to age much faster, so that's also something to talk about. But I just feel like when you know you're worth more, and like especially when you're in the last year, you still continue want to play, you want to contribute, and you're risking injury. That's a lot because right now Earl Thomas is gonna be out probably double-digit millions of dollars because of that injury, because no one's going to want to give him that big guaranteed contract. He's older. He just broke his leg. But you know what? If he got that contract before the season, he probably has 3 years guaranteed, and however much the safety market's going for a top-tier safety. So, you know what? I don't blame these guys. Does it look right? No. But you know what? They also got to take their health into consideration. So, and then other people were probably saying, "Oh, you're already making millions, this and that."
Well, he's not going to be making millions anymore.
Yeah, but that's just the way the NFL is. You know what? All these guys get paid. You know what? And if you're as good as Earl Thomas, you want to be paid with the top guys. So I don't blame these guys for really setting up.
It's a really tough situation because obviously you get some guys like Odell and Aaron Donald, and you're wondering, oh, these guys are making millions already. Why don't they just come to practice during the off season? But you realize that they have to take their health into consideration, and I like the point that you made with that, because now Earl Thomas may be out of a job. He might not be able to find another team to play for, and it's just a tough situation. And a guy like that, especially the talent that Earl Thomas is, I wish him nothing but the best, and hopefully he finds his way. So that's just my little take. I wanted to get a little bit more involved into that because, I mean, it's a huge thing.
Definitely.
It's definitely one of those topics in the NFL that's heavily talked about.
It's going to keep coming back year after year. There's always going to be those couple of guys that are going to hold out for more money. You know, we see it every year. A few years back, Jets saw it with Revis, and now with Bell, like you said, Odell. There's just always guys holding out, but you know, it's just one of those things that's not going to go away until like the CBA or whoever that changes and they do it accordingly. But It's just something that's only going to pop up from time to time.
Well, with that being said, let's get into our picks tonight. We're gonna, like we said at the beginning of the show, we're gonna have our one lock pick for the week, and we're gonna go with our one upset, and then the rest of the games we'll talk about accordingly. I'll adjust accordingly to what you say for your lock. You adjust accordingly to the game that I say is my lock, and we'll go from there. So, lock for week one. I'm going with tonight's game. Patriots, that's my lock for the week. They looked so explosive last week. They finally got the run game going, which opens up a lot more. They get Julian Edelman back. The offense is just going to be clicking on all cylinders, in my opinion, with all the injuries of the Colts defense. Darius Leonard, the rookie, has been playing phenomenal and is a top contender for that Defensive Rookie of the Year. But regardless, it's definitely, like we said, it's not a one-man game, and he's going to feel the heat tonight. So my lock of the week is the Patriots.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good choice. One of them I was thinking of, but just the way they're playing right now, I'm playing against a weak Seahawks team. I'm going to go with the Rams, even though they're on the road. The Rams are just, they're firing everywhere. That defensive line is going to destroy that Seahawks offensive line. And if Goff can play even somewhat consistent and good, you know what? Rams probably drop 30, probably only give up 3. So that should be a blowout.
So tonight, who do you got?
Tonight I'm going with the Patriots, of course, because they're just a much better team. They got Tom Brady. Luck's been playing really well, but on the road it's gonna be tough. And Bill Belichick usually prepares for these games really well. He knows what Luck's good at. He's stopped them in the past. So Patriots with Edelman even back, so that's gonna help them out offensively. So should be an easy win for the Pats.
And for your game, Seahawks and the Rams, I'm going to go with the Rams too. I just I don't see in a situation. I mean, the Seahawks had an easy one last week running the ball. You're not going to run the ball like that against this Seahawks or this Rams front. I'm going with the Rams, especially after the way that Goff played last week against a much better defense. Falcons and the Steelers. This was one of my games that I circled during as one of my games to watch, and both teams really underperforming right now. The Falcons just can't find a way to win late in the game. No. It just goes back to the whole you can't finish a game, you're choking. But with the way that the Steelers have played and how explosive this Falcons offense looks, and it's both things, it's the same situation for both teams. Your offenses are playing well. Well, the Falcons better more than the Steelers, but both of your defenses are not playing well. And especially on the Falcons, yeah, you have the injuries to Keanu Neal, Deion Jones, and those hurt you. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, who the other guy was, Ricardo Allen. All hurt. Doesn't make it easier for you. I mean, the Steelers have no excuse on defense, really. So, but I'm giving this one to the Falcons on the road. I just think that they're playing really good ball, and especially against the Steelers secondary that's been absolutely atrocious. I mean, you could put garbage cans out there and probably cover better than your receivers, but cover the receivers better than your secondary corners. But I am going to go with the Falcons on the road.
I'm actually going with the Falcons on the road, too. I actually saw a stat. Julio Jones is on pace for like 2,000 yards this season and hasn't scored a touchdown yet.
Oof.
So, yeah, but Calvin Ridley certainly didn't find the end zone, and that's good for the Falcons. But, yeah, no, I think the Falcons right now, even though both defenses look awful, Falcons probably got a little bit of an edge there. And, yeah, they're starting to click in a little bit on offense. The Falcons, they dropped a lot of points last week. They lost that heartbreaker to the Bengals. But I think just all around they're playing a little bit better. The Steelers, like I said, they're just down in dumps right now. They're just not looking all that good on, like, offensively they're scoring, but still very inconsistent from time to time. And defense, like you said, just a giant dumpster fire. So I'm going to go with the Falcons on the road.
Forgot to do our upsets of the week. And I'm going to go to my upset of the week now.
All right, go ahead.
Hear me out here. Browns over the Ravens. That's my upset of the week. I liked what I saw from the Browns last week, offensively and defensively for the most part. I think that all the momentum that you've built up after that win against the Jets, you win at home, you win in front of your home crowd. It's a great feeling. And with the way that the Browns have been playing, and I think they've been playing every single team, every single week tough, they get an upset here and finally beat the Ravens I don't know what the record in like the last couple years is with the Ravens, but
Probably not
it's
good.
probably not good. They just don't do well in their division, but I'm giving it. This is a turnaround for the Browns. They get to go home. They probably have a chip on their shoulder after last week of those controversial calls, and they're going to get this one right.
It's actually funny because when you do an upset of the week, I instantly looked at the Browns too, just because, like we said, like every single game they played in, they've been really close in and had a chance to win. They could have beat the Steelers, they beat the Jets, they should have beat Oakland, and who they play? Who they play again in week 2? But that was a close game too that they could have had. I remember it wasn't.
The Saints.
Yeah, they were close with the Saints. So yeah, every single week they had a chance. And I know what? At home, I think Baker Mayfield probably be a little bit more composed at home, which will help him out. But yeah, no, I actually was giving this one to the Browns too, because like I said, I'm not sold on Joe Flacco. Yes, they're 3-1, but like it's never a big Joe Flacco guy. You know what? And I think a couple of weeks together, I think Jarvis Landry and Baker Mayfield could really get it going. You know what? Nick Chubb was playing really. He had 3 carries for like 100 yards last week.
Crazy. I
So
could expect that man to get more carries this week.
I hope so. He's busting out big play after big play. So actually, I'm on board. I'm on board with the Browns this week with the win over the Ravens.
So as much as Joe Flacco's on pace for a 5,000-yard season, apparently, we're giving this one to the Browns. Titans and the Bills. I actually put a little bit of thought into this because, I think the Titans have been playing really well. But at the same time, I think that the Bills are a tough team to beat at home, regardless of whatever happened in week 1. I'm going to give this one to the Titans, though. I think they keep the train rolling against a very weak team, the Bills, that after a week 2 just shocker with the Vikings, they get themselves right this week. They don't get themselves. The Titans will keep this train rolling.
Yeah, I think the Bills' biggest problem, they're just not getting LaShawn McCoy involved in the offense enough. Like, yeah, he's not getting many yards per carry, but this used to be a guy on the Eagles that just, he could catch the ball in the backfield. He's a good route runner, got solid hands, get him some screens, run some wheel routes, try to get him your best offensive playmaker the ball, but I don't know. They've just been staying away from it. I know he's been a little hurt, a little banged up, but I saw the injury report. They said that he's fine. So, but I just think, like you said, this Titans team is just better. Mariota's been playing well. This Bills offense just can't get anything really going. And besides that that win against the Vikings, really just have nothing going at all. So even though Titans on the road, they're a better all-around team. The records show it, and give the Titans a win on the road. Yeah.
Bengals and the Dolphins. I'm giving this one to the Bengals because I just think that the Dolphins are getting so beat up. We're not going to see. I don't know who's coming back for this week, but I know that last week there was no Devontae Parker, there was no Rashad Jones. I don't know if those guys are playing or not, but I know that Josh Sitton got hurt. I think after week 2 or during practice after week 1. They missed him. It's not easy to miss him. He got hurt in practice after week 1. They lost Daniel Kilgore this Sunday, torn tricep. They lose Bobby McCain to a knee injury. It's just falling apart really quickly for the Miami Dolphins when it's in terms of injuries. And the thing that I thought is that I like where they are in the starters, but I just don't like the depth. And when you start getting deep into those guys, those guys aren't starters. They're still professionals, but there's a reason why they're not starting. So I think that they're losing too many starters. The Bengals have been so hot recently. They're playing at home. They're playing their first home game since week 2. Giving this one to the Bengals.
Yeah, Andy Dalton's been playing really well. Come back in the fourth quarter last week. And like you said, the injuries to the offensive line of the Dolphins, it's just tough to play with when you don't have the protection that you really need. The Bengals are clicking right now, and like you said, the injuries in the Dolphins, it's certainly going to be tough to overcome. I think the Bengals and their offense will continue to do well and pull off this victory at home.
Broncos and the Jets, moving from one AFC East team to the next. Why don't you start this one off?
I'll start off. Even though the Jets are home, the Jets offense just looks incompetent right now. They can't get anything going, and this Denver's defense is pretty good. And defensive in the Jets' defensive backside, stopping Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas. Thomas hasn't looked too good, but I just see it causing trouble for our team. Jets are going to have trouble scoring. Broncos are going to be just fine. I think I'm going to give this game to the Broncos on the road.
Broncos are a team of mine that really need to continue to play catch up against the Chargers, against the Chiefs, who are 4-0. They can't let themselves get too far behind. But I don't know. I like the Jets in this one. I think that the matchup, I like the Jets at home always. I think they're a really tough team to beat in MetLife. I almost said the Meadowlands. That was, oh man, way before, way too long ago. But yeah, I like the Jets in this one. I think that the Broncos really aren't a really good road team. They don't play well on the road, especially this. These games where teams have to travel this huge far distance doesn't favor them at all. And just the shaky play of Case Keenum with these past couple of weeks concerns me with a Jets defense that is known for creating turnovers. I'm going to take the Jets in this one. I like this one.
Let's see.
This matchup for you.
Let's hope.
Packers on the road in a divisional matchup between the Lions. I like the Lions in this one. I'm actually going to go with the upset here. The Detroit Lions, after what they played against the Patriots, they're 1-3. They just lose a close one to the Cowboys. But these division games are just so close every week, and we've seen some vulnerability with the Packers that, especially like the last 2 weeks period, they lose a more of it than a emphatic game against the Redskins, tie against the Vikings. I'm going to go with Detroit here, and I think it's going to be due in part to 10 roughing the passer calls against Clay Matthews.
Yeah, now, this will certainly be a close game, I think. Both these teams are pretty good. Aaron Rodgers is still getting a little bit hindered with his injury. Hasn't really got going with Jimmy Graham yet. Hopefully they can turn around for him. But Matt Stafford, since week 1, has really been turning around. He's been playing much better. Putting many points up on the board. Golden Tate's been doing well. But no, I just saw him about this game. He's just telling me that Aaron Rodgers is going to have a really good game. It's a divisional game between these two. Packers haven't been playing too well. And just one of those games I feel like Rodgers is really going to put his guns up and really show what he's got. Because I feel like the Packers need this game a lot. So I'm going to go with the Packers winning this one on the road.
Yeah, I mean, I hate trying to pick a decisive winner in these divisional games. It's just it's so tough because I think that any division team can beat any division team any week. I mean, not really the Browns for the most part back then, but now obviously I'm more sold on the Browns from what I've seen this season. Potential game of the week, and actually this is my game of the week. Well, one of two. There's a couple good games, but I'm actually going to give this one of my game of the week. The Jaguars travel to the Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes has played phenomenal football these past 4 weeks. 13, 14, something, 15 touchdowns, no interceptions. He has played lights out, MVP candidate caliber football. But the thing with them is that now you're not playing the Chargers defense, which is good, but they lost Jason Verrett. That's their number one corner. Actually, Casey Hayward, but you can target other guys. You're not playing a broken Steelers defense. You're not playing a old veteran guy like you're not playing an old secondary like the Broncos. You're playing a Jaguars defense. This is the elite defense of the league. This is the best defense you're going to play all year. And I'm giving this one to Jacksonville. I think they go on the road. I think the defense just is probably chomping at the bit. I know those guys. Jalen Ramsey's definitely got to be fired up to try and play a guy like Mahomes. He is a competitor. Same with Calais Campbell. There's going to be some havoc. I mean, I'm concerned with the Jaguars on offense, but just with so much, your defense just does so much. It helps you out so well. I'm going with the Jaguars on the road to finally put this whole Chiefs streak to rest.
This is really tough because Chiefs just got so many weapons on offense. It's tough to stop them. And Jaguars got a great defense to stop it, but I'm just a little too worried about the Jaguars offense putting up enough points. Like, yeah, the Jaguars defense is going to hold the Chiefs a bit, but like, are they going to hold them enough? That's the thing. I think the Chiefs, even though they're playing against a really good defense, they're still going to put up some points. They're still going to fire away. I just don't know if Blake Bortles, with how he's been inconsistent these last few weeks, if he could put up enough points. So the Chiefs at home, I'm going to give them a slight edge, and I'm going to give them 5-0, even against a good
Wow.
Jaguars team.
The Chiefs are here.
The Chiefs are here, and Andy Reid, coach of the year.
Oh, man. That was your pick. And as much as I can't argue with that. Giants-Panthers, I mean, I don't think this is a no-brainer here. I think the Panthers, coming off a bye week, had a lot of team time to prepare for the Giants, and the offensive line is just not holding up for the Giants. It never does. Panthers defense is okay. I mean, it's good. It's got guys like Luke Kuechly, who make it really good. I think Dontari Poe is playing for them. But, I mean, the Panthers, after the last couple weeks I've seen from the Giants' run game, Christian McCaffrey's in for a big day. Not only do you have to worry about Christian McCaffrey running, you got to worry about big number one running, and that's not good for the Giants. I like the Panthers matchup a lot.
It's just not a good matchup at all for the Giants. The last time I think they played each other, Panthers blew them out. Blew them out big too. So Cam should have a good day running the ball. It just, it's just what he does. 260-pound quarterback coming at you full speed, but. I'm going to give this one to the Panthers, and I think they should win this one fairly easily.
Well, we're ready to the Rams and the Seahawks. Raiders-Chargers. I'm giving this one to the Chargers. I don't like how the defense has played for Oakland. I think they got really lucky last week against the Browns, and now you're traveling to, I mean, it's not that far. It's Los Angeles to Oakland. It's not too far, but I like the way that Phillip Rivers and the Chargers have been holding themselves on offense, and there's so many options that you go with the ball. And Melvin Gordon's playing phenomenal so far. I'm giving this one to the Chargers.
Yeah, no, the Chargers on offense are just clicking too well. Keenan Allen hasn't even been playing all that great, but Melvin Gordon's just putting up numbers right now. Antonio Gates even scored a touchdown last week. So, the Chargers offense is doing great. Raiders, you know what, they could very easily be defeated right now if it weren't for some calls last week. So, I'm giving this one to the Chargers at home.
Let's go to the Sunday night game, and let's go Dallas and Houston. I like the way that the Texans have been playing. Well, I like the way the Texans played last week. I haven't been through with them, and I wasn't sold on the Texans as much as everyone else this offseason. And I just. But the thing is that I like the matchup against the Cowboys. I think the offenses can keep rolling, and the momentum is swinged in the Texans' favor. Not that I'm not saying that the Cowboys haven't, but the Texans have a good enough defense that they're going to hold the Cowboys in check. So I'm going to go with the Houston Texans.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Texans too, because I just feel like Cowboys defense, besides Ezekiel Elliott, really is just not performing at all. I think J.J. Watt and Clowney can try their best to hold them to limited yardage. And if DeAndre Hopkins is going to play like he did last week, I think it's going to be tough to win for the Cowboys. I'm going to give this one for the Texans at home. I just think they're a more explosive team right now.
No, we skip the Cardinals and the 49ers. Let's go right there. I want to pick the Cardinals. I want to give Josh Rosen finally his first win, but I can't. I like the way that the 49ers played a team like the Chargers last week, and then they're home. C.J. Beathard didn't look too bad after not winning a single game last year. I just think that Kyle Shanahan finally has this going for him. Matt Breida has been stepping into that huge role that Jerick McKinnon left, and I think he's first in rushing.
He was
first in rushing.
He was going into week 4. I don't know if he was afterwards, but
yeah,
he's been having a solid season.
Matt Breida playing off a knee injury too, because that's a guy I have in one of my a couple of fantasy leagues, and he's been battling a knee injury, but he has been fighting the good fight. And I'm expecting him to have a big game against an Arizona Cardinals defense, which has been Swiss cheese against the run this season.
I just think the Niners are playing better ball right now. Cardinals offensively just don't look good. Rosen started off quick. He actually had a touchdown, got called back on a penalty. touchdown late in the game, trying to come back. But I don't know, just they don't seem to be clicking really too much. Just not really consistent there at all. And even without Jimmy Garoppolo, the Niners looked solid last week against a good team. So Niners at home.
And before we go to my second game of the week, let's go Redskins Saints. And this is a big one for the Saints because their backfield is complete once again. Mark Ingram, not only Julian Edelman back from suspension, Mark Ingram is back. And now the run game is complete. Now the two-headed monster backfield, both guys running over 1,000 yards, I believe, last season, and that hasn't been done in forever. And I mean, I fear for the Redskins' run defense.
It's gonna be a nightmare for the Redskins.
Giving this
defense,
one to the Saints.
Are you gonna stop the run with that two-head monster, or are you gonna keep more, or are you gonna try to clog up the box and let Drew Brees beat you with Michael Thomas? So, just a nightmare for any defense. And the Saints playing at home, it should be an easy one for the Saints.
And then my second game of the week. Two teams that we didn't expect to be 500 and under 500. One of my other games of the week, the Minnesota Vikings traveling to the Link to take on the Eagles. I mulled this game over all day. I tried thinking, you know what, the Vikings offenses look good and the Eagles defenses look shaky, but then again, they're playing at the Link, and this is a game where the Vikings got flat out destroyed last year, and in the playoffs, and you know, while it's revenge for Minnesota, it's a way for the Eagles to finally get back on top in the NFC East. Ultimately, I'm giving this one to the Eagles. It's tough to play in the Link. I think that Doug Peterson's going to find a way to win, and as much as I like the Minnesota Vikings and still think that they're going to be able to turn this season around from being 1-2-1, it doesn't happen this week. Go get them next week.
Going with the Vikings.
With the Vikings.
I just think the Eagles' defense and secondary has been too shaky, and stopping Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen, it's going to be no easy task, and even Kyle Rudolph. And, you know, I think when you get beat up that badly like they did in the playoffs, it leaves a sour taste in their mouth, and they're going to come back, and they're going to come back swinging. Of course, they got a new quarterback from the last time they played, and Kirk Cousins has looked phenomenal. You know what? And if Carson Wentz, if he's still looks rusty like he has these last couple of weeks, I feel like, you know what, this is a game the Vikings could take even on the road. So I'm going to take the Vikings. It's probably going to be a close one, maybe like touchdown game, but Vikings on the road.
And that'll do it for us. Another couple good weeks, and this has been such a very interesting year of NFL football. I feel like every year is, but this year, I mean,
a lot of stories this year.
A lot of stories this year, from Patrick Mahomes to Le'Veon Bell to Earl Thomas to a bunch of rookie quarterbacks playing
penalties and refs and
roughing the passer.
Magic.
Clay Matthews. Bad teams playing good.
Good teams playing bad. So.
It's just, you don't know what you get this season, and it's been so tough to predict. But like every week, we'll be back next week to review what we saw in Week 5 and give you a Week 6 predictions, and we'll try and find a story that happens next week. We'll try and talk about it a little bit more in depth like we did about the roughing the passers and the Earl Thomas debacle. But that'll do it from Nick Smith, the Stick, to me. I'm Justin Connolly. We will see you next week.